Joining us now is Dr. Katherine Ramsland. She is a prolific author and professor of forensic psychology, and she joins us now. She studies serial killers, and I talked to you at CrimeCon when we were there, and I can't think of one better person to have tonight to talk about this case than you. So thank you very much for joining us on a Friday. Because I wanted to get your opinion about, I didn't know what to expect when I opened this envelope, and here we have these colorful drawings. So the happy-faced killer, he's known for sending these letters and artwork. What does it tell you? Why is he doing this?
Well, he wants your attention, that's for sure. He tends to be a copyist. He finds what other people have done. These look very much like the Peter Max psychedelic Beatle drawings from, I think it was the 1970s, or maybe even the 60s. But he tends to do that, and he wants attention. He wants to keep a hook with you. He wants some kind of communication from you, probably affirmation from you that you're enjoying these. And that keeps him attuned to what you're doing and you attuned to what he's doing.
Right. And as we do, we do want to talk about it because it happened, right? We got the mail. While we show these drawings, what was most shocking to me and to others here in the newsroom is I'm just going to hold them up and compare, if I can really quick, because you can see the eyes are very similar. The eyes are very similar. They're shaped in a similar way. And to me, his eyes resemble him. Your thoughts on that? Do you think that that's what you're seeing? I know that you've looked at these individually as well.
I've looked at it. Amateur artists often will draw the same features the same way over and over because they don't know how to individualize them. I also kind of think he doesn't process the life spirit in people. He doesn't see what eyes really look like. I don't know that he's necessarily trying to make them look like him, but it does just look to me like an amateur drawing.
Right. And I do want to mention, we have been reaching out to victims' family members, 8 victims that we know of, and there's the hunt for, who Claudia is. One of the victims' family members that I spoke to, I said, we're going to be talking about this. I just wanted to speak to you. She was the niece of victim number 5, Patsy. Aunt Patsy was her name. And the woman I spoke to said, he's still sucking air. I don't know why, but if this keeps the story out there and there are other victims, they hope that they will come forward with information. So you've spoken to serial killers in the past. So take us inside of that kind of evil, the one after the other, the desire to kill and kill again.
It's a compulsion in some. It really depends. There's a lot of different motivations. If it's a sexually compelled serial killer or an anger-based serial killer or a mission-based serial killer, they tend to kill again and again to satisfy something in them, some drive in them, whether it's to punish people because they're just angry about stuff, whether it's because they think they have to eliminate certain types of people from the world, or whether it's something that arouses them, and then they become addicted to it. So there are a number of reasons. Some are greed-oriented. They are enriching themselves by killing other people and taking their money or taking their goods or their jewelry or whatever it is they get. So it really depends on which kind of killer we're talking about.
Wow. I know that you've talked to so many, and I also want to turn to the cold case quickly because we want to shine a light on that. He's clearly, he chose this woman who apparently lived on the fringes. It seems as though the police believe she was a frequent hitchhiker. We just don't know a lot about her, but no one has come forward recognizing her. How unbelievable is that? And it's my understanding from talking to a cold case investigator this week that the reason they were able to convict him for Claudia is because he gave them information that was only and very specific to what the killer would know.
Yes, and there sometimes are killers who do help police. It's in some ways it's because they want to keep themselves relevant. They want to believe they're really important, that the police can't work without their help. Ted Bundy did this. Dennis Rader did this. There are others who have admitted to murders that the police didn't even link to them. So we do have some who, once they're arrested and imprisoned, they want credit for what they've done, and sometimes they will help because it makes them relevant and makes them feel important.
Right. And on this Riverside case, apparently the father of this victim was identified. He's since passed away. They can't find the maternal side, and that's why they're asking us to put these pictures out there. And so anybody that has information, please call the Riverside County DA's office, police department.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.